And I'm sure most of you already know what the Greenbelt is, but just a very potted history in a couple of sentences. It was an idea that started to develop before World War II and continued after that, but it finally came to place in 1955. 40% of Enfield is either Greenbelt or metropolitan open land, which is amongst the highest in London. I believe we're the fourth highest borough for that. 2/3 of all Greenbelt land around the country, not specifically in Enfield, is in agricultural use. We do still have agriculture in Enfield, and we definitely like to keep it that way. So, when the Greenbelt was started, it was a planning device, and these are the 5 purposes that were put into planning, which you can see there. It's to stop sprawl, safeguard the countryside, encourage urban regeneration, and protect the special character of historic towns. Any tract of Greenbelt only has to fulfill one of these to be considered Greenbelt. One of the ways it's being attacked is by trying to judge every tract of Greenbelt against all 5 of these, but that's one of the battles we're going to have to face. But as well as all of these 5 planning purposes, it also provides many benefits to the environment, wildlife, and people. Now, Enfield Roadwatch has for about a year now been running a social media campaign called I'm Not Just a Pretty Place, which highlights all the different benefits of the Greenbelt. And this is just an example of 4 of them. You can see food growing, places for children to explore, places for people to get out and commune with nature, cleaning the air, very important in this day and age. The list goes on. I mean, the Greenbelt gives us so many things, plus it's a home for wildlife and on and on. So we consider it very, very precious and something that should be there for future generations, and people should not start messing with it, in our view. Despite its popularity, its benefits, it's always been under threat from development. And that's become much worse in recent years because of population pressure. Quite a bit of Enfield's Greenbelt is either owned or optioned by developers. Pretty much everything that isn't owned by the council, that's the case. And developers love it because it's just easier to build on Greenfield than it is to build on Brownfield. The only way to get Greenbelt land out of the Greenbelt is during the local plan process. And Enfield is in the middle of its current local plan revision, which will go until 2036. It's a very complicated process. We get a chance to participate, all of us, with various consultations. There's lots of different documents, lots of different things happening. But a very important document came out recently, which is the SHLA. It is a very technical document, but it's basically a list of land of all sorts that is potentially available for housing development. Now, it's really unusual for a London borough to do their own, because the Mayor of London does one for the whole of London, and he sets the housing target. You can see there, Enfield's is now 1246, so that it can be built on existing brownfield land without encroaching on the Greenbelt. But Enfield decided to do their own for one reason that is legitimate. About 20% of Enfield's homes are typically built on very small sites below the threshold of the Mayor's SHLA. But in addition to small sites, there are, lo and behold, also 29 Greenbelt sites in the SHLA. Now, the document, which is quite extensive and long, states in several places that just because something is listed, it doesn't mean it will be developed. But all of these sites in brown that you can see are listed as potentially developable, most of them within the 5 to 15 year time frame. And Enfield has also conducted a very extensive Greenbelt review, which the Mayor had said they didn't need to do. And that's a way of, as I was saying, judging every tract of land against all 5 purposes, so that you can say that, well, this one only meets 1, so it's not really very valuable Greenbelt, we can take it out of the Greenbelt. There's also one very important site in the east of the borough. It's not just the west and the north that's been hit. There's a site that I'm sure Matt will refer to, which is targeted by maybe not the council, but we would like it to be a new park for Meridian Water. But that's also listed in the SHLA for potential development at some point. In all, it's over 330 hectares listed, and it includes 8 nurseries in Cruise Hill, acres and acres of farmland, all the farmland between Hadley Road and Enfield Road, and this crucial site in Edmonton that I just referred to. Cruise Hill is particularly under attack, and as Vicky mentioned earlier, we really believe that local horticulture and agriculture should be encouraged, not replaced with car-dependent, unaffordable housing developments, because the fact is that developments on Greenbelt are typically executive homes, which need at least 1, if not 2 or 3 cars, and people have to drive to get to everything. And it's definitely not tackling our affordable housing crisis. So we would very much like to see these businesses, which through lack of enforcement have become less horticultural, being encouraged to become more horticultural so that we can have better local jobs and more local food being produced. Very important thing to remember is that brownfield sites become available all the time. If you think about the shopping centres and the office blocks and everything at the moment that was a result of COVID are empty and potential brownfield sites for development into something else. It's always changing. Brownfield sites come along continually, but once Greenbelt is lost, it's gone forever. And we really mustn't let that happen. The most important consultation of the local plan process is going to come in June, which is when we get a chance to say what we think about the draft plan. We don't have an exact date yet. We're hoping it will be at least 6 weeks of consultation, but it's very important that everybody participates. It's really unfortunate timing because who knows what's going to be happening in June. We're supposed to be out of all restrictions, but who knows? So please look for that. And if nothing else, write in and say, no building on the Greenbelt, no Greenbelt in the local plan. Enfield Roadwatch, we post a lot of stuff on our website. You can go there and get updates, and you can get draft responses to the consultations. And if you would like to be on our email list, we'll send you information, as and when consultations come along so that you won't miss out on them. You can see both of those there.